Welcome to the Long Range Pursuit Podcast, presented by Gunworks, where we learn about and share long-range shooting techniques, science, and gear.
All right. Well, welcome to Long Range Pursuit Podcast. I'm Mitch Libby, and I'm here with the wizard.
Yes, Jeremy, back in the house, teaching again. So I get to participate in the podcast now. So it's fun to be here.
Happy to have you back, man, for sure. It's been crazy. I'm trying to think when I started, were you teaching? No.
Yeah.
I can't remember if you were teaching when I started and then it changed.
Part-time.
Okay. Just part-time.
I taught for like a month or two. While we were training new instructor.
Gotcha.
And then I kind of stepped out.
That's right. Because we had flat top here
at
that time.
We sure did.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
But it's been good, it feels good to get back into the LRU side and, kind of on that sales side and interact with the customers some more.
Yeah.
So that's been, it's been a good transition. Cool. So
yeah, I'm pretty lucky. I get to do that a lot and
yes,
have
you do.
For a long time. So
yeah.
I've been pretty spoiled.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, I mean, we have a lot to talk about. We just got back from about a couple weeks ago from Utah. So you want to start us off there?
Sure. Yeah.
Kind of let us know what we were doing.
Absolutely. So yeah, for the listeners, we were down in Utah, Ensign Ranch, just outside of Evanston, Wyoming, just on the border there. There's a pretty awesome ranch that we've been there for a long, long time. I think one of the first long range pursuit videos we ever did was there, and our first long range class was actually there on Ensign Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, I've obviously fell in love with it the moment I went there for the first time, and it's been a big one for us because it's been our level 3. We used to teach our level 1, level 2 here, and then we would go down there for level 3, and that was our only level 3 for a long time.
Yeah, we had a real static, level 1, level 2 in a, pretty fixed range, not a lot of opportunity to do more of your mountain type shooting.
Yeah.
So that was really nice to, have that in the arsenal with the teaching.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it's cool. Cause we get all those different, scenarios we're putting them in. For one, obviously we've done a lot of hunts with Ensign down there too, as well. A lot of customers have. Yeah. And, so it's pretty cool. Those guys are awesome down there. If anybody that's hunted with them, listen to the podcast, I'm sure they know how it is. But yeah, if you're going to go hunt down there with those guys, to me, it's a no brainer, right? You're going to, I'll go knock out a level 1, level 2 earlier in the year, or maybe the year before, whatever works for your schedule. And then I'm going to go shoot at the ranch, and I'm going to go hunt later.
Yeah. So it makes for a nice transition there, doesn't it? So they already feel comfortable with the ranch and the shooting conditions and can translate that right into a successful hunt. So it works out well for those guys for sure.
So it's been a minute since you went to Ensign, right?
Yeah. So I haven't been for 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I've been back. And it was, I'd almost forgotten how nice it was up there, out of the city, out of, not much cell service, it's kind of one of those places that's pretty unique up there. It's pretty special to be there.
Yeah. What it was it's 500,000 acres, if I remember, or in total there.
In total they run. It's a pretty big continuous, piece of property. Yeah. And which for, us as shooters gives us a lot of opportunity to travel around and shoot a bunch of different situations and, and put the students through the ringer, so to speak, over there.
What did you think this year? Been such a long time for the training side and what guys were experiencing.
A lot more advanced than we used to. We definitely were shooting much further. Mm-hmm. 800 or 900 shot in the original days was a long shot. You know, and I think what was our longest 1550. 1550.
Yeah.
With the kind of the progression and the evolution of our rangefinder and ballistics program and all that kind of stuff, we're seeing guys push that shooting limit out further and further and further, and that's where this venue kind of is really nice. Yeah. We have the ability to take, we could do an ELR course there if we wanted, because we could shoot several miles if we wanted to. So that's kind of nice. That was definitely different than what we used to do. And then, now, of course, nowadays, a lot of tripod shooting. We had hardly any of that, because we just didn't have great tripods. They were all filming ones, big, heavy metal. But now with, all the innovation in the tripods, we can carry one tripod for our spotter and, hook it right up to our Arca rail on our gun and it works really well there. So that was really nice to see, break out the tripods and make the guys get a little uncomfortable and not be able to just, statically shoot off that bipod and, what they normally think is long range and kind of test the limits of what they can do off that the tripod.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's cool because we've had like the same, at least a couple of the guys over the years, right? Because it's been 6 years in a row that I've been down there now, I think. Yeah. And those guys, I've had some guys that were there from my first class, and they're still coming every year. Yeah. It's kind of just their tune-up, right, for the fall. They'll, book the class, or maybe they come into Cody and go all the way through. But I've got one guy, he's been there every year. And it's just like, even those guys that have come every year, right? It's like, it's still, to me, it's a shameless plug for our training school, right? Like, I think anybody should come knock out of school in the spring or the midsummer before fall. Yeah. Because there's a lot of these guys that are like, they're busy, right? Our customers are very busy. Everybody's busy these days, and it's hard to get time to go do anything. But there's a lot of those little things, right? Like we get them into position, like on some of those shots, and it's like, man, you just threw a lot of the stuff we taught you out the window, right? And just kind of resulted back to old, ways, right? And if we can keep putting them through that same thing, and that guy, I'll call him Ron Phillips. He's awesome. He has been, that's like been his goal, is just to be that much better every year that he comes, and he practices every year. Just, that's his class that he loves to go to. Mm-hmm. And, he does really well in that. But there's so many guys that come and they're just like, man, you've been to school 3 or 4 times and you're still, some of these old little small things that we need to work on.
New, still, adding to that arsenal of tools in their shooting kit.
Yeah. It's a perishable skill, right? Yeah. And I think a lot of guys take for granted. They're like, oh, I went to the school once, I'm good to go. Yeah. This is kind of, we're going to put you through that test, right? There was minimal training, right? We did an hour, or maybe an hour
just a
of
little,
touch-up.
Kind of touch up, just to remind them, of all the basics and the mechanics, so that we weren't throwing everything out the window. Just to make sure guys had a little refresher there, and then and then we just pretty much we go out and check zeros, and then we're hitting stations all day.
Yeah. So let's run through each of those stations, so guys can kind of understand what's one that you like that stuck out the most.
It had been a long time since I shot the White Rocks. Yeah. And that one, the wind gets you every time. Like, it's so funny because I still remember the first time we went there years and years ago. We shot near that location, and we actually nixed it from the first class because we just couldn't get a handle on it back then, because we just didn't have the right tools, right? Yeah. And then, we come all this way, and, we have, much better wind meters and ballistic solutions. And it's fun to see the guys, get up there and maybe fail a little bit, and then all of a sudden realize what the wind's actually doing in that valley. And then, make some really good shots, once they make some corrections. So cool. Yeah, that was a pretty cool station.
Yeah, I like the White Rocks too. It's cool because we've got there's these big rocks, right? For the listeners that are not watching or able to be there, but there's these, imagine a big cliff face, right? And it's probably 300-foot drop off the edge.
Yeah, it's a pretty good drop.
So we hiked down to this little point, and then we put a target down off the bottom, straight down. It's like 410 yards or something. And it's like a 30 degree?
Yeah, maybe 30, 35.
30, 35 degree angle down. So it's it gets a little sketchy over on the edge sometimes, but you can get to where you can shoot a tripod or maybe sitting with a bipod, right? Shooting straight down into this. And a lot of guys will maybe sometimes sit back a little bit, and then they're like, okay, and I see it every year. It's the kind of how this face of the mountain faces. It's, facing kind of northwest. All the wind is always coming from the northwest, right? Predominant, and it hits this face of this mountain. And it'll push guys high, right? There's a lot of updraft. That's one thing we talk about in this class, I think, is a big one that we're not able to replicate here unless we're at like Sheep Mountain. Yeah. Is some updraft, right? And there's not really a formula, that I've been able to find or, see besides just a rule of thumb to a point. There's some of it you can do, like a 30-degree slope, is going to be half of what, say a 10 mile an hour, where it'll be half of that, is the wind factor, but there's still no updraft, factor in it.
Yeah, we still have to be able to calculate that up, right?
Yep. So it's hard to learn. But anyways, we we get to test that on that spot, and then one other target, that one that was directly north on that ridge face.
On the ridge face, yeah.
So we get a lot of guys, they're like 400 yards chip shot, right? It's just like, it's a pretty small plate.
It is a small plate, but at 400 yards,
you should
that was flat.
Yeah.
You should ring that all day long,
you should be totally smoking it, and everybody's just screaming over the top, right?
Yeah.
Or screaming over the top or under the bottom a couple times,
Yeah, nobody wants to get up. They want to, they don't, they're a little scared. They don't want to get up on that edge so that they can feel that wind.
Yeah,
they want to sit back and sit back. And, that's kind of the cautionary tale.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you're seeing you're seeing wind downrange. We know there's wind, and if you're not willing to get up on that edge and figure it out, it's going to be pretty tough to shoot through. So.
Yeah. The one guy, he shot it and he sent like 3 rounds at it, right? Just screaming over the top. And I'm like, what do you think's going on, right? Because we're trying to, we've taught all the basics, right?
Yeah.
We ran through everything. So these guys should, in essence, know most everything besides, bringing in all your scenarios. So it's like, hey, I'm trying to, help this guy learn, right? Hey, what do you see? Why do you think you went high? Did you load your bipod? Was your rear bag solid? How was your tripod set up if you were shooting off tripod? This guy was laying prone, shooting over the edge, and he was just like, I don't know what's going on. And I just grabbed my wind meter out and I just stuck it over the edge like this, right? And it was like 25 mile an hour, straight up, and he was just like, holy cow. You see the light bulb come on, and it was just like, okay, that makes sense, right? Yeah. Push your bullet right over the target. It was probably an 8-inch plate, and it was just over the top.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's spine or over the back, depending on what you're shooting at, right?
Yeah, depending on the animal, right?
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. I agree. White Rocks is a really cool spot. So learning that updraft is a big one. I think it's always going to be a tough one.
Yeah, there, I think any of those situations where you put the guy, just a little out of the comfort zone, that's what's kind of nice about it. We can change it up every year if we want.
Yeah.
We have some of the basic targets that seem like they're kind of in their spots, but it's like we always try to throw a little curveball in there for those returning guys.
Yeah.
To make sure that they just not, coming and doing static things every time.
Right.
But some of the shots pretty hard, the steep uphill angle off a tripod where they have to figure that out, figure out how to sit and, lean back or whatever they're going to do, and to be honest, we're pretty hands off. Especially when we first hit the station, we'll explain what's going on, where the targets are, and then we're kind of hands-offish. We want to see these guys at this point. In my mind, they have the basics. They should be able to at least get it, pretty much figured out.
Yep.
And so we're pretty hands-off until we see a bunch of failure, and then we'll step in and see if we can diagnose what's going on. But that's what's kind of nice about it. You can put them in these situations that break them outside of that comfort zone of being on a static range, put them more in that, hunting mindset of anything can happen, anything can go wrong, and then, working through it in a calm fashion. So, so that's one great place, great thing about the Ensign Ranch is, the number of shooting stations it's endless, we can just, whatever our imagination thinks of, to set up.
Exactly. That's like always been my thing. It's like every year I'm like, I just want to change this a little bit. What can I throw a curveball for these guys that have been? That when you just talked about that super steep uphill, it was like 800 and something, 840.
Yeah.
And it was like 27 degrees straight up. And
the only way to shoot that was off a tripod.
Yeah.
You're not going to make anything else work in that situation, especially where we put them in the middle of some brush.
Yeah.
It's like, nope.
And it was flat, right?
Yeah, it was flat.
It was flat, like we were sitting, but then we were just up on this face.
Yeah, there was nothing to throw a bipod on or nothing. So you were using your tripod in that situation. So, it's things like that make that ranch really special, and it's fun to do that class there. So,
let's see.
One thing a lot of guys, don't really know about that class is that it's an LRU class / competition.
Yeah.
And so I'll let Mitch kind of tell a little bit about it, but it's like we give away a rifle every year there.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys don't know that. And, we've got a couple guys that are ringers that have won multiple times.
Yeah.
Essentially come to this course to show how good they shoot and to take home a Gunworks rifle. Yeah. So I'll kind of let Mitch ring that out. But.
We've done I think we've started that, it's probably 4 years ago or something. One year we were just like, so it's a bunch of guys that have been there.
Yeah.
They've been to the class multiple times. They've got a few rifles. Hey, I'm going to bring my 6.5 this year or whatever, or my 7 the next year kind of a thing. So we do a score. So like a day one, we'll do we'll run through all those stations, right? It's the training aspect. We're really hammering on that. But I mean, it's like, it kind of, what I kind of like about it too is because I've noticed all those guys that at least have been there before, they're taking notes, right? And I think we should, anytime we're doing a training, is take a bunch of notes. And I think that's a lot of things I notice with guys in like our regular shooting schools in Burlington. Hardly anybody's taking notes.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they're taking some pictures of some slides, you know, or whatever, you know, big things that they really want to remember. But it's like, you know, you get out to the range and it's like, oh, we take notes because that's part of the class, right? In that one section of like truing, right?
Yeah.
But then, you know, from there, they're just like, okay, you know, I'll just remember it, right? But it's like these guys
never do.
Yeah, exactly, right? So all these guys I've noticed, like, you know, they get up there, it's this day one, we do some training, but it's like they're taking notes, right? Because they're wanting to, I mean, it's going to kind of force you to be a little more prepared for the next day instead of, oh, I'm just here to go sling some lead.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Yeah, you've got a goal for the next day.
Exactly.
And you're trying to figure out as much of this stuff on the training day as you can, so that on the competition day, you're trying to get that one leg up on the competition. Yeah, you know,
exactly.
And those, there's those guys, right? You know, there's a couple of them or three, you know, that take really good notes, and you have to mix it up for them so they don't take too good of notes.
Yeah, it's true.
But
yeah, because it's so cool how you can, you know, apply that to any real life hunting scenario, right? It's like, if you're going to take notes, I mean, for me, I know, you know, how my brain works. It's like, if I write it down and I do it at the same time, I'm going to remember it that much easier, you know, and especially if the next day we put it in a more, you know, intense, right? We got 3 shots. You have an opportunity for 3 shots on each plate.
Yep.
So it's like, you know, if you pull up and hit it on the first shot, you get 3 points, don't shoot anymore, right?
Yep.
You hit your animal, you got it, dropped him, first shot, it's over. But then you have those, you know, hey, I dropped the first one, but I saw where I missed.
Make a correction,
you know, and then you can, you know, if you missed again, you can make another correction. So it's like, we gave them the opportunity to just, you know, grab, you know, 3 points from the start, or at least grab 1 point if they, couldn't
make that correction.
Yeah.
No, it's a really good way. And, you know, it's pretty amazing to see how guys, you know, nice and calm and relaxed on the first day. But as soon as you make a little bit of competition out of it, like, everybody becomes this whole level of frazzled, right? And it's nice to do that, because that replicates that hunting situation just that much more.
Exactly.
But it's so funny to see how one day everybody's kind of jovial and high-fiving, and then we go to the second day and we turn on the competition mode, and it's like everybody's a little more serious.
Yeah.
There's not as much joking around for sure. You know, and then you know, that frustration level comes up pretty quickly, and it's just a little competition. You know, it is a gunworks. It is you are winning a rifle. You know, there's some pressure there, but it's like it's pretty crazy to me to see the difference between the 2 days. You know, and the guys' level of concentration and everything, and they're trying to dig out every little bit of information they can get from us. And we're just, you got to be tight-lipped, you know, and just call shots. But
we're just trying to replicate, right? It's like, 'cause, I mean, anybody could go hunting by themselves, or maybe you're overseas, right? You're in one of the stands or whatever over there, and these guys can hardly speak English besides shoot again. You know, if you miss, it's like, we're trying to get guys to be able to, you know, one of the biggest objectives I try to help a customer or anybody that comes to one of our shooting schools is, we want to see that impact, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of guys don't really think about that. You know, they kind of think of that, oh, hey, yeah, I saw it that time, right? But it's something we try to, you know, force to say, hey, you know, stay in the sight, stay in the scope.
Stay on the gun, you know.
Try to see that impact through the scope, because you can measure it and make a correction way easier than somebody on your spotting scope. And if you got a buddy that's maybe he didn't come, right, with you to the school, but he's got, you know, he's spotting for you, and he's like, oh, you're over his back. But it's like, well, how far, right? You know, give me a correction, right? So
even on observation doesn't give you any data back, right?
No,
so it's like you have no reference, you know, to make any kind of correction.
Yep. So if you can see that, rack the bolt, send another round as quick as you can. For one, the wind is the same, you know, and then on top of that, you're going to be making a way more accurate, you know, correction.
Yeah.
So I really like that part about that competition is we're totally, like you said, hands off. It's literally, we call impact and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, or if they're like, was that a hit? And you're like, no, that's it. That's the only communication we're giving them, until maybe after, right? You're like, oh, dude, you were just off the bottom, you know, or they thought it was high.
I wanted to tell you to come up half a minute. You know, it's like,
so it's hard, because we're used to doing that. I mean, even the first couple targets, it's like, oh, just off
you catch yourself. I caught myself 2 or 3 times trying to throw out a correction, you know, because like you said, it's just that's so instinctual from teaching, because you're always, you know, you're constantly trying to get them to learn and correct. And it makes for that second day pretty interesting.
That's cool. It's about the only way you can get the heart rate up for sure.
Yep.
Either make some competition
one of those. Add some competition into it, or some kind of time limit or time factor, and it just takes that training to a whole nother level. Yeah. We never did that kind of stuff early on, the competition or timing, but, especially with Brian and Ian, our new instructors there, they really lean on, that kind of training where, we're always, even in the level 1 class, we're doing a little competition, a test at the end, put a little pressure on guys, start them early, and then you get into level 2, and then almost everything ends up being either timed or some kind of competition. You just keep ratcheting that up, and then you hit like Ensign or level 3, course up here in Cody. And it just, that's where it kind of culminates in those more, hunting type situations. And hopefully by then, you've run those drills enough that you can, have a nice, calm, cool demeanor, and you can just work through the problems.
Yeah. I like that. So we start these classes first week of June every year. It's been this next year. So 2023 will be the week of June 5th through the 9th. So that week, for everybody that's listening, they can, keep an eye out. We should have that uploaded here really quick.
Really soon. Within,
so we'll have
probably
dates.
by the time this is launched, I'm sure they'll have the dates posted, and they will go fast. I mean, this one, we only, because that ranch is a trophy ranch and they, really take care of the animals and they have such high quality animals there. We get a small little window to participate on this place. And so we can't do multiple ones throughout the year. We're doing one that first week of June. And so, we only do so many seats. So, sign up fast, get your spot, give us a call, get a deposit in, get your spot locked in for next year. And, and hopefully, somebody will be able to take away with the rifle from one of our guys that win it every year.
Yeah, exactly. We need to mix that up a little bit. But it's cool. So and especially with that, right? It's like if it's far enough out, you can plan. Hey, come, because our schools start here in Cody. What, end of April, 1st of May?
End of April, 1st of May.
Yeah,
and go through October. So I mean, there's plenty of opportunity. Even if you want to catch like a level 1, level 2 before that, to get kind of practiced up. If you're more of a novice, come grab a level 1, level 2 before the June date. And then you'd be really prepared for the June date. Or come participate in our Cody level 3 course would really be the one to probably sign up for. Before that class, because it'd be mountain shooting and then right back to mountain shooting. So.
So it's not such a baptism by fire.
As you could say, so you kind of have your gear worked out. That's the one thing I like is these classes make you rethink not only the gear you have, but the way you deploy it, right? Like how that gear is managed. You just kind of naturally do it over the years. And those of us that are kind of been in this industry and, some of that stuff kind of comes naturally, but a guy that's starting out and has never been around a tripod or a bipod or something like that. Just the management side of that equipment, what to deploy first and second, and, what order to do things in. That's where these, mountain courses really come into play, is because you have to, the guys that are succeeding there are expert level, at that management of their gear, and if you can manage that gear, then that leaves fewer things for you to worry about, the wind or whatever, your compensation, but it takes all that mechanical stuff out of the equation.
And there's a lot of guys I've seen that, especially like maybe after they're first there, they see all the gear that we have as an option, right? It's like there is endless options, for shoot different bags, different tripods, different sizes of tripods, bipods, extensions, things like that. And it's like, I've noticed, right? It's like they'll come in, the guys that are winning, right? They'll come in with one tripod, one rear bag. And it's like, if you can get your, I'm going to have that with me anytime I'm hunting anyways, right? So you don't need like all these, 12 or 15 different bags and, these, I got this bipod for this situation and this one for this situation, right? It's like, with that tripod making it super versatile, we really hammer on that. So I do agree that that's a big evolution and that's changed over a lot of years.
And that's another good thing. You kind of, that point you brought up there about, knowing what equipment to take, right? That's where those level 1, level 2 courses come in. We have, 4 or 5 of those different size bags. It's like, let's find out, not in a hunting situation, but let's find out where it's a nice and static and we can actually, figure out the use of these things like in that level 1, level 2 course.
Yeah.
Which bag's best for you. Maybe you like the smaller bag or the bigger bag.
Yep.
Maybe maybe the backpacker tripod is what you would, suit you best.
Yep.
Those are things that you sort out in that level 1, level 2 course, so that when you come to these level 3 courses, it's just like you said, those guys that are successful, they don't bring everything in the kitchen sink.
Yep.
They've got a nice little, pack with all their little stuff in it.
Yep.
It's organized. They, very meticulous, cutting all the fluff out. Right.
Yeah.
And those guys are the ones that are actually excelling in those courses.
Yeah. And it's cool. 'Cause I mean, it's like, the guys that have won it, I've known them forever. Right?
Yeah.
I sold them their first gun, or they were the first time, they came out to our school and never had shot long range. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, and these guys over the last few years, it's like, here they are, some of the best shooters I've seen. Right.
Yeah.
Making
would compete with us.
Absolutely.
Right? That do it for a living.
Exactly. Right. Like making some killer win calls, that's like, they may have, like, there was a couple of them, they're like, oh yeah, I shot this. I'm like, man, I would have been off. I would have called something else. Right. And it was like, okay, I'm impressed. Right. So those guys, we obviously know it's an addiction, right? Or it's, a super big passion, right, for all of us. So yeah, it's really cool to see how everybody's kind of progressed. And that's just a total shameless plug. I mean, it's like, skill is, it's not really bought, right? I mean, this is, to me, is priceless, right? It's like, if I can go learn these type of skills, I think about how long it's taken me to get to this point, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't have classes, did we?
No, right? We had to figure it out ourselves. It's like, man, how many thousands of rounds have I shot to figure out some of these things, right? Or watched thousands of rounds, right? Especially like for me, like I'm super spoiled, right? Or we are spoiled to be able to watch how many thousands of rounds, help and train, right?
Yeah.
It's like
year after year after year.
Yeah.
In all these different situations, right?
You have different winds. Oh, hey, that looked like it was left. No, it was actually low and a bullet splashed up on the left side, right?
Yep.
And it's like those stuff, he's like, you can catch it, right? But it's like, man, we get really spoiled there, but we had to go through like all that to kind of get where we are now. And these guys, it's like, hey, you come out for a class, come out for 4 days, level 1 and 2 in Cody, and do like a level 3 at either Sheep or, especially Ensign.
Yeah, Ensign, yeah.
And it's like, man, I can't even explain how much farther ahead they are, than the average person can get just from that. And you're drinking from a fire hose, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, where some guys are starting, it's like, we've had guys come to class that have never shot a rifle. Had one guy 2 years ago. Yeah. I've never shot a rifle. I've just shot pistols. And it was like, he comes in and it's like, he was just grabbing it on, right? And it's like, now since then, he's just like, oh yeah, he's all in, right? All in, but it's like, he's been really good at it, right? So it's it's cool. It's, just priceless in my opinion for the knowledge you can gain.
Yeah. Yeah. That, the schooling aspect of it is, definitely one of our strong suits that, we've really, refined that curriculum, over all the other schools out there, even, where it's so teachable, and guys, easy for guys to learn, and
because it can seem intimidating, right? It's
it does. It's all intimidating, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't seem like that to us because we see it every day.
Yeah.
But, if you think about somebody that doesn't have a good foothold in this industry, and coming in and we're talking about the earth rotating and all this other stuff, it gets intimidating, but we have good ways of, really good ways of teaching that curriculum so that we make it, the physicist could understand, the mathematician and, the guy that's just coming in can understand. Yeah. And so, it works out really nice for pretty much everybody to come and, learn some part of that, that activity.
Brian and Ian, super awesome. I think I've been here a long time through a couple different trainers that we've had.
Yeah.
I mean, like some of the most personable dudes, right? Easy to learn from. You can go from, like you said, you have guys that are just on this next level of, precision that they know, and some guys that are just never done any of it, right? And they're on the same class.
Yeah.
Right? And these guys can.
And they're all taking stuff away from the class. Yeah. It's pretty unique out there, I think.
So we're really lucky to have, especially you and Brian and Ian down there. It's a really good mix. You guys are the three amigos.
It should, it'll open us up. Not only, 3 instructors will open us up for some other opportunities as well.
Yeah.
Especially, we're looking at doing some more like offsite, wintertime, when we're not traditionally, Wyoming's pretty nasty in the winter.
Yeah.
We like to go to the warmer climates and train then, so it, with three different instructors, that's going to allow us a lot more versatility there. So hopefully we'll be able to pick up some more offsite stuff, in later in the year now. So it gives us a little bit more leeway, to do more stuff like, putting out more content, I'd like, we're talked about, getting back into the, instructional video side and of course, podcasting, we have time to do that now. As before with 2 guys or 1 guy, you never had time for that.
Yeah, like, hey, can you come help out down here?
Yeah, we were begging for help back in the day, but so kind of back to Ensign, I think, before we wrap this up, I think we really need to talk about, what I really went to Ensign for, and that was the food. As you can tell,
so true.
I don't go without. True. And not just the food, the accommodations. Yeah. We it's a nice lodge and all that kind of stuff. But they put on such the people and everybody there just so nice, and the food is just out of this world.
So good.
I mean, you're gonna hike every day. We're going to walk somewhere, but it doesn't matter because you're going to gain weight anyway.
Yeah, right.
The accommodations, first class.
Yeah.
Really good food. If you have allergy restrictions or whatever, let us know, and we can make accommodations for that. But man, they do just such a good job at taking care of us while we're there. And so we just want to send a shout out to all those guys over at Ensign.
For sure.
Travis and the whole crew.
Yeah.
They always treat us really well, and the customers too, not just us, but everybody that's there. And we definitely get pretty spoiled. I have a feeling that the Ensign's going to be fought over
between
next
you
year.
guys.
Yeah. I was kind of bragging about some of the stuff, and I could see that maybe I was going to have some competition for it next year. So we'll see.
Awesome. Yeah, it's Western Lands Outfitters. Those are the it's the outfit, all family. The family owns the outfitting business and the ranch. So you don't have that separation where it makes things hard. So it's like everybody's just super down to earth, good people there. So known them for long. You've obviously known them longer than I have.
Yeah.
So
known them quite a while, and so and it's nice, because we know we can we can send any client there, and we don't have to worry about them not having a good time or and so it's really nice to have places like that to to teach at and associate with those kind of people in the industry. So
what do you think we're going from here? What's the next step?
I mentioned that ELR course. I mean, I think Ensign would be pretty epic for an ELR course. Maybe we can get that put together, sometime. We do have one ELR course, 1 or 2 this year.
Oh, that's right. You got them set up here
in Cody.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun. I've never, I've shot ELR a little bit, right? But just kind of playing around. I've never really got into the teaching and actually, getting really involved in it. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Maybe I can get Aaron to build the instructors a 375.
Now
to play
we're
with.
talking.
What do you think?
Yeah, I like it.
So that we, know what the students are bringing. So
yes.
I have to be able to keep up. So anyway, we got some ELR stuff, and then, week in and week out, we have the level 1, level 2 going on. And then I think it's almost every other week we do the mountain course, several times throughout the month, but we're teaching every week in Burlington, no matter what. So, and the classes are filling up fast. So and there's still time, right? We still have some openings. So
we do.
If guys want to, get signed up, call the sales department, call Mitch, and he'll get you signed up, for these classes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from here, we'll be in hunting season before we know it.
Oh, yeah. I didn't draw any tags. Mitch, did you?
I know.
Yeah.
Just a cow tag. That's about it.
Yeah, that's my luck. But my kids did, so I guess I'll be working my butt off for them this year, which is still good. But yeah.
But that's Ensign, guys. We looking forward to it next year for sure. It's all included, so it's like that price you guys see when we finally post that. That's including lodging and the training side of it, right?
Yep.
It's a bring your own rifle. And rifle and ammo, that's just the kind of the progression, right? Level 1, level 2, we provide gun and ammo. Kind of just takes that whole gear. We've tried it, right?
Yeah,
we've tried it. Bring
so
your own stuff.
It's better to teach with things that we're familiar with and we know function well.
Yeah, so it's like that part's taken care of on our level 1, level 2, and this one it's like hey, by this time you should know what you need.
Yeah, bring your own gear.
And bring it. right? And so you're gonna test and practice with your own gear there in those scenarios. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So keep an eye for that on the website.
First week of June,
Yep.
2023.
Yep.
As soon as this posts, get calling the sales department. They'll have for sure posted by then. By the time this goes out, and so, get signed up already for next year before the spots are taken.
Sweet. Thanks for coming on that.
Yep. Thank you, Mitch.
Have a good one, guys. Take
All
care.
right, till next time.
If you like what you're hearing here, please take a second and give us a 5-star rating and a positive review on iTunes or on your favorite podcast app. We appreciate your feedback and suggestions for topics you'd like discussed or questions you want answered on the podcast. You can reach out on Facebook or Instagram or send us an email to podcast@gunworks.com. Also, be sure and check out our full offering of long-range gear at gunworks.com. Use promo code LRP for free shipping on any order.